What is up, Philly gang? It's your girl AJ, the Suburban Princess, here back with Birds of a Feather. Not the co-ed edition tonight because I want to talk to some ladies and I want to see how they're feeling about Philly just being lit this weekend. Not only are we here to discuss our Eagles, but my special guest, Helen Little, is going to talk to me about how she feels in general about the Phillies going to the World Series and our Eagles being 6-0. So thank you very much, Helen Little. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How you doing, AJ?
I'm hype. But I guess I'm tired because I must be hormonal or something because I was actually crying watching the Phillies after they won the pennant. So
that was emotional.
I don't know, man. I used to always clown people who cry because I'm always like, what are you crying about? This is great. But I found myself
crying in baseball.
Yes, exactly. I found myself going, if I was outside my body last night on the couch, I would have been like, you are punk. But it was so amazing. And on top of everything, with the Eagles coming back from their bye week, 6-0 right now. I never saw that coming. I didn't doubt my Jalen Hurts. But at this point now, anything is possible. Sixers haven't really had a great start, but they got 79 more games. So I'm not counting them out at all either. And the Flyers are actually in a good position considering they have a new coach and everything. So Philly is... And the Union, forgive me. And they're playing a New York team. I thought for sure the Phillies were actually going to play the Yankees. I was shocked that they are going to be matched up with Houston Astros. So that would have been cool.
I was actually hoping for a repeat of 2009.
Yes.
With the Yankees and the Phillies and our chance to redeem ourselves. But you know what? We're there.
I can't be greedy, right? I mean, the Union, especially because with MLS soccer blowing up here, I don't think a lot of people thought the Union would be a discussion, but honestly, I got to give them props up there. I have never been to a MLS game at all in my life, but I can imagine. I think after this season, I think they're really going to have to really look at this team with a lot more respect because the Union have definitely kicked butt, and them coming into this division now, into this finals, I wish them nothing but the best. I know my brother-in-law is happy because he loves soccer, but anyway, bringing Helen into Birds of a Feather, into my domain, I wanted to get her opinion of the first 6 games. I mean, they're getting ready to play Pittsburgh, so now it's going to be the Battle of Pittsburgh when they play this coming weekend, but it's going to be kind of hard to not have a little ADHD with all the stuff going around the Eagles, with everything going. So what is your take so far with the Eagles in general?
Well, I'm extremely excited. I'm very proud. And unlike you, I did not see 6-0 coming. I was a bit skeptical coming into the season just based on what we saw last season. But I'm like, now what I see is that they've got a cohesive team and plan. And I love this team. I love this team. Yes. I love their energy. I love how they play for each other. I love how they don't back down, how they don't give up, and that they take 5 seconds to celebrate, but then they get back to work. It means a lot to them. And I'm like, I'm on cloud 9 right now.
I'm with you. Do you have a favorite Eagles player?
Yes, Devontae Smith. I just think he is precious.
He is precious.
He's talented as all get out. I don't know. I love Jalen. Don't get me wrong. Oh, yes. Now you're gonna have me going down the list.
Go ahead.
I do. I love me some Jason Kelce. But if I had to be like, who do I always watch for? It would be Devontae. I don't know. He reminds me of my nephew. I'm your Auntie Helen Devontae.
I think, well, as they call him Smitty, I think the thing that makes everyone love him on top of the fact is he's completely who he is, completely authentic. If you have Southern relatives like I do, I got some relatives from Georgia.
And I am my Southern relative.
Thank you. So I'm
from North Carolina, so.
Yes, and and I got relatives from Georgia, Texas, everybody. So anytime you hear people you hear Jalen with his drawl, you hear AJ Will country, it's very warming if you really love that type of a man. And
that's a Southern accent, not country.
Oh, okay. Back it up. Southern. You're right. Correctly. I know my mom's from West Virginia, so some people say country, some people don't like country and say Southern, but you're correct. I think the thing that I love about the team in general, though, is that, like you said, they are cohesive, but they also do feel like your nephews, your brothers, guys you went to high school with. There's something very homey about this core. And very black. This team is very black. But I love it in general because I personally can't lie. Anyone who knows me or watches any of my podcasts know I'm obsessed with the tight end Dallas Goddard. I
I
have a
was
soft
about to say Dallas.
Yeah, I love Dallas right now. I always had a soft spot for tight ends since LJ Smith used to be on the team. I don't know why. I just think they're not always they're usually the hottest guys for some reason, but they're also the most useful tool in terms of the offensive scheme. But Dallas has been especially interesting to me because as humble as he seems, when they do those behind the scenes and they mic them up and stuff, sometimes I go, wow, like he seems kind of fun, you know what I mean? And a lot of this behind the stuff that you see on social media is really what makes you love these players more, because you see a lot more that goes on the field that we don't get to see until, kickoff. So was there a game these past 6 days, these past 6 wins, that you can say that stuck out to you as a fan, that you were like, from top to bottom, that game was so exciting?
I mean, all of them have been that way. The Dallas game for me hit me here.
Yeah.
One, they were determined to win that game, and there was so much hype around the other team, and there still is so much hype around the other team that they're kind of quietly going about their business, doing what we're doing, silent assassin style, and still the media always wants to talk about Dallas, Dallas, Dallas. Well, they, keep talking.
Keep talking. I agree.
Think at the end of the season, they're still going to be in the same place. So that game was exciting because I sat on the edge of my seat. It was a late night game after a long day for me. And I was like, I think that was, I had either been traveling. Oh, yeah. I had a big event that day.
Okay.
And rushed home in time to get to the game. And I was already exhausted, but I wasn't going to miss a second of that game.
I hear you. I know.
Well, that one was one that sat on the edge of my seat. The first game, the game against Detroit, when I did not know what to expect. Again, I saw them will their way to win, and I've seen that happen again. And I like how Jalen has said a couple of times, we keep leaving stuff on the table. We didn't do all that we could have done to win this game. We left some crumbs or whatever the word he used on the table.
Cash. We still leaving cash on the table.
Leaving cash on the table. I should do that. Still leaving cash. I don't believe in that either. We left some cash on the table, and I'm like, yeah. The fact that they recognize that, and then they go back and they continue. They continue to will themselves to win, but they realize we could have done a little bit better. And I like that in anybody who can see that in their performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's a difference between being critical and being just realistic. Obviously with social media now, especially I'm always on Twitter checking people, and I have feelings when I watch games that I can tell I'm like, I don't know why it took them so long to get back in the third quarter. That's kind of annoying. I don't know what's going on with the defense, but the difference, like you said, with this team compared in the past and since the Super Bowl year is that they're willing to finish it off as opposed to just kind of laying dead and then just, they figured out in the fourth quarter, but they're still down by 3 points. They lose the game. They could have easily won it. So this game, you're right. I do feel that there's never a stone unturned, at the end of a game, whether it's battle by battle, play by play. There are moments, though, I'm with most people. I'm not trying to act like I know what the defensive coordinator guy, Gannon, does specifically, but I know there are moments that I do wonder, it's like, why don't I see Sweaty or Fletch getting more sacks? Like, why do I feel like sometimes they're just kind of like waiting, like just there's this dead period in the third quarter, and I'm just like,
I think there's some strategy to that. This is my opinion. I don't know if this is what he's doing, but it's almost like, and I've noticed this across several games, and if I'm noticing it, I'm sure the opponents might notice it, but I think it's almost like they let the quarterback get comfortable.
Yeah,
like, they're not gonna mess with you too much, or then they come in like a wrecking ball, and it's like boom, boom, and then they're rattled. I saw I saw how they rattled people towards the end of the game. It happened with Carson Wentz.
Yes,
it definitely happened with Cooper Rush, was that his name?
Cooper Rush, yeah.
Cooper Rush. A little bit with a man who is in Detroit. I can't think of his name right now.
I always want to call him Gosling because my mom thinks he looks like that.
Right, he does look like Ryan Gosling.
I'm blanking though.
Yes, came from LA, went to Detroit and swap, and he got the bum into the deal. But anyway, him. So I see how when they turn it up, they turn it up.
Turn it up, right?
And I like that because I feel like it lulls the competitor into a place of comfort. Like my uniform's still clean, and bam.
I'm gonna look at it that way from now on because I was one of these people like just talking real ugly, at times when I'll be like, here they go again. I'm like, what is this prevent defense crap? Like, why? But you know what? I realize you're right. I'm gonna start thinking it that way. I want to see how they do this against when they play Green Bay and when they play even Steelers, because even though they just lost or whatever, I mean that rookie, he's slowly starting to figure it out. I like Pickett, and you just never know. I always like Mike Tomlin. I don't care what nobody say about him. I like him as a coach. So, but this second half is more intriguing to me now because depending on how this part of the season ends, like come late December post Thanksgiving, they may not have to work as hard for those last like 2 or 3 games, but we obviously want to see how they play against the Giants because that's one of the division games they haven't played yet. And I was away in Miami during the Washington game, and I was on the struggle bus because NFL Plus app was playing me and only letting me listen instead of seeing. So it was killing me knowing they were sacking Carson 9 times and I couldn't see anything until I got home. So I feel like this half is going to be telling. I'm not worried about it, but I do want to see how they recover with teams that seem like they got a little bit more sauce on their end of the ball. Honestly, it's anybody's game though, Helen, because I don't know if you've realized these products this season, as Tom Brady would say, I do not see a lot of good football going on right now. I feel like the Eagles are their only worst enemy. If they give up a game, it'll be because they decided to just fall off, not because they're going to get beat. I do feel like it is a mental thing. I think Jalen, as young as he is, definitely truly is a coach's kid because homie has the mentality of like, I'm not here to play, I'm here to win. And I believe it. I don't feel like it's something you sell. As a female fan, and even just as just a general sports fan, what is the thing that I think that, or have you noticed between this team and I guess the Super Bowl team where they were slowly becoming good, but we still didn't see Super Bowl. We still were like, okay, all right. Whereas this team, I feel like is not too crazy to talk Super Bowl, but I'm not ready yet. Like I'm still one of these people like, you got to give me a little more consistency. How do you compare that Super Bowl year to this year? Or is there a comparison?
Well, we're talking 2017, and as I get older, I don't remember as much. Just kidding.
Psych.
Here's what I do see. What I see is this determination, this will, this camaraderie, this energy that is very special. Is a good word. And I don't worry about them laying down and dying in the second half of their season. I do think that with teams like the Giants on a roll, I don't think that they're going to have the luxury of, okay, well, we're going to rest everybody towards the end of the season because they're still going to have to play good teams.
True.
Unless they clinch,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Out in a bye, then yeah. But I think I don't think that's going away. Okay. I think that is the heart and soul of who they are as a team. I think that, they're hungry. They want it. And I think also that what they're seeing happen with the Phillies and what the Phillies have seen happen with the Eagles is like a cross motivation.
I agree.
I have to admit that I was glad they had a bye this weekend so that all the attention could be where it needed to be. And that was at the bank with Red October.
Seriously.
And that to me was so special that we could really just focus on the Phillies. So yes. I think that feeds, they're going to the World Series. They're basically, that's their Super Bowl. So,
yeah,
who thought that back in when Girardi was here? Who thought that at the beginning?
Not I.
I didn't. I definitely didn't. So
I thought when Girardi was here, I thought that they would, that was probably a good sign, but then I realized something's not working with him, and I guess we were right.
Wins. I don't think they had any wins when they got rid of him.
I don't think
it was like one.
Yeah, it was not good. Let's put it that way.
And it was like, and they made a swift change. They didn't wait till the middle of the season. They're like, we got to do this now.
Now, right?
So, I didn't see that coming. I have a lot more faith in this football team being able to reach that point than I did about the baseball team being able to reach this point.
Gotcha.
But the same thing I think has occurred. It's like they play for each other. They're determined. They're not gonna back down.
Mhm.
And everybody's like going back to the Phillies. Astros, Astros, Astros. The Astros. I'm like, why do they downplay us so much?
Yeah.
I know why. But we're
Yeah.
Philly and nobody likes us and we don't care.
Don't care. And I'm telling you, if there was nothing more reassuring for the Phillies was to see that quote unquote brotherly love of Jason Kelsey running on and mauling the fanatic and leading cheers and everything, and then seeing the guys that were doing the panel for MLB Network, Big Papi wearing an Iverson
I
jersey.
know, I love that. Oh,
You
he wore an Eagles jersey. I think
he wore Reggie White.
Yes,
and then
he wore Reggie White.
Yeah, I like that. But as much as people were kidding, on social media, just talk about like, oh, he's pandering. I said, don't matter. It don't matter because they see what's up. They see the energy. They see what it's like to be in the park. They see why opponents hate losing to us because when it's lit, it is lit. Like something changes in the chemistry. That at one point at Padres scared me a little bit, but I had a weird feeling. I said, I think they're still going to do this. I said,
I'm pandering when he was eating those cheesesteaks.
Ain't nobody have a problem, right? Finding out D'Alessandro,
But going back to your original question, is I completely see it. And the comparison between the two teams is again this fight, this determination. No, y'all can overlook us if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Our record speaks for itself, and I'm not of the mindset or expectation that they're gonna do what the Dolphins did in '72, who just celebrated 50 years of the only undefeated football team. And when I was a kid, I was like totally enamored by the colors of blue and orange.
Yeah, so was I actually. Mm-hmm.
But I can see them going all the way easily because it's this mindset that I sense in them that is so embedded in this team. It's so ingrained in their mission and their passion to really do it all. So it's fun to watch.
It is definitely fun because it's almost like a youth movement, and not everybody obviously is. We still got some guys. Obviously, Kelsey being a veteran hugely on our team and being part of the championship.
Fletcher Cox.
Fletcher Cox. Yes.
Brandon Graham.
Thank God he stayed because I was hoping they wouldn't play him and
I like this mix of younger player and veteran player on this team and how they're working together and how they're learning from each other and they're uplifting each other, supporting each other. Yes. And I don't feel like it's a one-way street where just the veteran guys are teaching the younger guys. I think it's cross-pollination with.
I agree.
I get something from you.
Right.
I give you something. You get something from me. You give me something. I feel like that's what it is in this one.
And I love it because we have the draftees, the two Georgia guys we got. I call him Big Baby Jordan, my favorite, and Nakobe Dean, which that whole thing was controversial about how we thought we weren't going to get him, and then he ended up being there in the draft picks. And draft is a whole nother pod I could go into as to how I feel like they set some of these boys up because I'm still mad about Lamar Jackson dropping to how low he did, and that's still my boy. I mean, that's my B team. But I like the youth. I like how I love the Southern boys up in there. I love how there's a mix of just different personalities, and yet they all seem to know every game what they're supposed to be doing. And I think that they know, like, we're not done yet. That was something that Dougie P, when he was here, she always tell him, we're not done yet. Yeah. And with Jalen stressing that, like, we still left a lot of stuff out there. You're right. I cannot wait to see how they come through with flying colors. I'm really intrigued by the Green Bay game only because Aaron Rodgers is obviously not having a great stretch right now. Neither is Brady, but it's always fun to see a youthful QB against like someone as grandiose in terms of history as a QB player as Aaron Rodgers is. Because I do remember the Green Bay game when Carson was here and they whooped their butts prime time in Green Bay. So anything is possible. Yeah. So that's what makes it exciting to me.
I'm not as concerned because I think right now they're mentally rattled. I think Green Bay I think what we have in terms of what I was talking about where the mindset here is, theirs is the exact opposite. polar opposite, and that's what's affecting that. I think the same thing for Tampa. That is what is affecting that team.
Mhm.
It's not like they don't have talented players.
Right.
There's some mindset issues that's affecting that team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know exactly where it's coming from or what it is, but when you don't have this part,
Yep.
like on 100, it's really hard to get this part and the
Yep.
rest of it.
Yeah,
to work
I
too.
agree with that. Yeah, because it trickles down. And my whole thing is if your captain is not centered, then everything else on the ship is not going to follow with you and trust you. Trust is big too. I do believe trust is huge. And I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
not even just with the quarterback, but do you trust that your brother's going to have your back? Do you have trust
Do
in
you
your
trust that somebody can catch a ball?
I'm just saying, just the fundamentals. Like if I don't hear that word enough, that's something that even the Eagles had to deal with last year, because it's like they couldn't put wins together to save their life, and then it just became all the backlash to Jalen, because people, even myself, briefly were like, this is so weird, like just throwing him into this team like this, and I'm still dealing with what the hell happened with Wentz, but now I see chips fall where they may. It was just ordained. It was just meant for him to be here.
And this is the first time in how many years that he's had the same.
Oh yeah, the same offensive coach
for
more
2 years, more than 1 year.
Right,
Yeah.
more than one season, correct. Yeah. So that is important. I do believe that can create you can lack chemistry if you don't have that understanding even with your own coordinator, because to me that's important. I mean, if that's one thing that made 2017 such a success to me, was all those guys on that coaching staff that year. And to me, as much as people want to argue me down, DeFilippo was the one that could train Carson to get out of his bad habits. And when he left, to me it wasn't right, because clearly he didn't last in Indy either. So I think it was DeFilippo.
Indy, he ain't even playing in Washington right now. I know he's injured.
I know, but I'm
they
just
won
saying
yesterday without him.
I
also think that Carson's biggest enemy was Carson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once he got injured, I felt like he played with so many demons. First of all, it was first the injury, then then the fact that I got to look at this guy that won the Super Bowl for this team. He gets a statue, and I did everything to get. I can't. I'm sure he couldn't help but be a little bit jealous of his friend.
Yeah, human.
And then from there, it was like, oh, they just drafted a new quarterback. I'm sure his mind.
Yeah.
You've got to have the kind of mental toughness in many high-level positions in life, not just football, to like block out the noise. And I don't think that's his best attribute.
It's obviously not, because I think I was one of those people that wanted to root for him and just say, well, if you bring up my replacement and you just gave me a franchise contract, what the heck you think I'm going to do? I don't want to compete again in my 5th season. That's how I looked at it at first. But he should have really took it like, okay, all right. So you trying to, this is another prove it year thing? Bet I'm coming back. But he was like, nah, I'm tired. I'm not competing against nobody, especially because he knew it was hurts and he probably thought this dude's going to play me out. Like, I'm not trying to. So he bailed.
Well, we dodged a bullet. I'll just put it to you that way.
We did. No, straight up, because I had to let it go. Like, I was one of those people, I don't deal with change very well. So at first I was like, what the hell is going on?
I was a little sad myself. I was a fan.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh, I see what they had in mind. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because once Hurts played in that Saints game and that offense moved better than they had the whole season, I was like, oh, wait a minute now. that was when I was like, pause, let me shut up. So seeing him now, it's like all he needed was extra time, and all he needed was trust, and all he needed was coordinators that were willing to work with him, because
consistency.
Yeah. And I honestly feel like that's basically the secret to any young quarterback trying to break out, because some of these dudes are really going against a lot. Like I was talking about earlier with Lamar Jackson is one of my other favorite quarterbacks in the league, and I just feel like they can't keep throwing more adversity at my homie. Like I want him so bad to get back to MVP status, but I'm torn now because Jalen is running my team. But if there's any two quarterbacks, I love
them. AFC Player of the Year.
Yeah, he can have the AFC, exactly. Because I love the way he's learned now not to just run either. I can understand why there's a lot of black players.
First of all, to watch his dynamite.
Yes.
He's dynamic.
Yes.
I like him as a quarterback. There's things I like about the Ravens. Usually when I watch, I'll be honest, watching Buffalo has become exciting. When I think about the AFC, I do like Buffalo. I do like Kansas City. I like the kid that they got in San Diego. He's not San Diego. The LA. What is the name?
Yeah, LA Chargers. I know they keep
Chargers.
confusing me. Yeah, I like Justin too. Yeah, they
Love
just
him. I mean, he's
like
just
Herbert.
exciting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the airport yesterday, sitting next to people from Chicago, and they were talking about how bad their team is, and I'm like, yeah. I don't think it's as much the team as it is the coach. But they were talking about, they believe in the quarterback. Mm-hmm. They just got to have the right person with them. And I think that we're fortunate in that we got this young quarterback and we got the people around him to help develop him. And I like the fact that Sirianni and Hurts both are coaches' kids. Yep. And they kind of cut from that same kind of cloth, which creates an amazing chemistry for the two of them and the ability for them, going back to that word you used, to trust each other and help take this team where it needs to go.
And that's the thing I loved. Sirianni, too. I didn't like him right away either.
I was on the fence, too. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, who is this dude?
Whoa, that rough opening press conference.
Love him now.
Love him now. But I'm just saying.
I went out at the Phillies game with his kids and...
Yes. And I like how he's about to curse people out in the last game. I was like, yo, simmer down, Sirianni. Just a Philly getting in you. But yeah, he's had me worried when he first introduced himself. I was like, yo, this is not good for our team. But seeing him now and learning to just the geek in him and the lover of the football is what you admire, because it's not inauthentic. It truly is what he is. And it almost seemed like a happy accident now. And looking back at how I totally was one of those people who was like, yo, I don't like this dude. But now I'm like, you know what? Let me shut up. Give him time. Everybody deserves patience, deserves a time and a chance. And I'm very, very happy. But the young quarterbacks in general in the NFL are more exciting to me than, I don't want to say old head because I'm older, but I just feel like now, A-Rod and Brady aren't as exciting to me anymore. And I think it's obvious that it's Josh Allen's time, it's Lamar's time, it's Hurts' time, it's what did I just say? Justin Herbert's time. It's Joey Burrow.
I still think Matthew Stafford's a great quarterback, though. I mean, I still think that I don't think Aaron is surrounded by the right people.
No, he's not, clearly. But
I think Brady's got some stuff going on in his head, in his life. All right.
Yeah.
I think that Stafford and the Rams are seeing it ain't that easy to get there twice.
No.
And I really didn't think they were all that last year, but that's just me.
I didn't either.
So, Garoppolo, meh. I mean, he's got some he's got some things I like about him, some things that are like meh. So I think that there's a good mix of, the younger quarterbacks and the more veterans in the the NFL.
I tell you one thing I'm noticing too about who's better in commercials. Because not everybody's an actor.
Andy Reid is funny.
Wow, the fact that he even had that commercial on the plane and that one, him and what's his name, Mahomes. I just realized, I'm like, yeah, Mahomes is actually kind of coming up in commercials too a lot. At first,
he's been doing them for a while now.
He's been doing it for a while, but I used to think he was so stiff. I was like, yo, he can't relax.
No,
but now,
he's funny. I think he's good.
Lately, he's been funny. The latest one he had where he had he was dropping the balls in the water and he was trying to get the guy to be like, do you want to get a massage? He was like, that was
cute.
That was a funny one. But yeah, so you have to admit the NFL now has a lot requirements for these NFL. You have to be really good at social media. You got to be kind of good at just in general. If it's a plus, if you can act in commercial, that's part of your branding. But
well, you have to be, I think, beyond being able to act in a commercial, you have to be marketable. And I think that Josh Allen is marketable. I just don't think I don't get his.
Yeah.
He's not cutting. Whereas Peyton Manning was a natural from the door. Now the whole family's doing commercials with them. I mean, I'll be watching them tonight.
Yeah, me too.
But like some people have a natural knack, but they're also, how marketable are you? Who was it? They were because and marketable also is subjective, because it depends on who's creating the commercials.
True. Yeah.
And that's a whole nother conversation.
It
Because
is.
I'm like, I'd like to see Lamar Jackson in some national commercials.
I would too,
I
but
haven't seen him in any.
I haven't seen him in anything because I think first of all, I always thought he spoke so fast that I don't think people understood him, even though I understood what he says. But I think sometimes.
But it depends on who's putting together the campaign, because I'm telling you, there's a world of folks that talk like him.
This is that's why I like him. But I'm thinking, I'm thinking big picture, and I'm just like, they ain't gonna give that boy a chance, and it's not gonna be.
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons why they don't. I don't think it's because of how fast he speaks. That's just me.
I agree. Yeah, that again.
I'll leave it at that.
Another podcast, right? So, lastly, I just wanted to ask your opinion about how every beginning of the season we always talk about how the NFC East always starts out as the NFC least, but now not this time, baby, because now the Giants got me only a little nervous, just because Danny Jones, for some reason, seems to know how to run through our freaking defense. And every time he ran, I wish somebody had tripped him these past couple years. So they need to sweep the Giants this year.
First of all, we got a different defense.
True.
Second of all, they are what's working for the Giants is the same thing that's working for the Eagles. They are playing for each other. They're playing for their coach. They're not backing down. Now, I don't think that they're playing as good a game of football as the Eagles are, but I think that the intangible things is what's making them succeed. And the schedule doesn't hurt either.
No.
But I think it's going to be a punch them in the mouth football game between these two teams. Exactly. But I'm not worried about it.
I'm not worried about it, but I just know now that I used to blow them off like they're not a threat. And then lately, these past couple times, I'm like, oh, no, now, wait a minute. I can't assume. It may be one of them 20 to 21 wins or a field goal win, but I'll take it.
It's going to be a battle. I think that's going to be a better battle than the Dallas game was.
Right.
Or I think that's going to be, I think that because they have this confidence now about them that they're going to, and they're going to come in and be like, we ain't who we used to be.
Right. They're going to be like, we're New York. We're back, baby. Yeah, you know what? It's reassuring that it's not going to be boring to have this half of the season with all these divisional games. But now that Dak is back, I kind of just want to see Dak and Hurts playing against each other. And I want it to actually mean something and not be one of these throwaway games by the time we see them again. Because usually it's always like before New Year's or in between Christmas or whatever.
Right.
I don't remember the schedule. But in my head, I'm thinking, I just give me the good old fashioned battles that we used to watch back in the days when Sunday night, Monday night, whatever against Cowboys was just like what it was. But it would have been more exciting with Dak, I think.
I think it's going to be more exciting with Dak, but I still think we're going to win that game. I think that, I can't remember the entire schedule.
Mm-hmm.
There's a trap game in there somewhere.
Yep.
I definitely think that that's coming. We still got to play. We haven't played Tampa. We haven't played Green Bay.
Yep.
Who else do we play?
I thought they played Buffalo
outside of conference.
That's right. Yeah, outside of the conference. I'm with you. I do think the Texans might be a trap game because Texans they might look past it because that QB ain't no threat, but you just never know. But you're right. I do feel, and even so, I thought about it, even talking with my co-ed Eddie, I said, even if they lose a few games, that's still a pretty darn good record. If you come out this season,
of course,
14-4, that's not bad at all. We got to learn how to deal with the losing.
Sometimes it's good to get that monkey off your back before you get down to the nitty gritty and into the playoffs. And it's like, because you don't want your first loss to happen in the playoffs.
No, you don't. Heck no. Yeah, we've seen the Patriots go perfect, and then you see what happened in the playoffs with that year. So
they lost in the Super Bowl, didn't they?
I thought they lost. Well, they went.
No, they went all the way through to the end and lost at the end.
And then lost. Okay.
And I think that was to the Giants, but I'm not really sure.
I think it was the Giants, but I'll go back and research myself. But I know that showed me that it didn't mean anything being perfect in the regular season because I'm like, and Exhibit A. So I like the little humble game that every now and then everyone's going to see. I didn't see that coming, but I'm like, well, they're back to earth now, so let's just keep it going.
But the thing about this team is I don't think that they're in the clouds anyway. I don't think that they're like overly feeling themselves. I think that they're grounded and they are just, like I said, they're playing hard for each other. It's different when you like.
This is true. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
They're not doing that. They like I said, they celebrate for a little bit, then they get right back to business.
And that's what's up. And honestly, that was something that you kind of saw at times with, even before the 2017 year, you saw a lot of the times that they had those moments, and then it'd be like, you thought you were hot crap, huh? And you just came and got humbled. But you're right. I do hope that that keeps going. It's exciting to see it unravel. Going to the Phillies, definitely with a team that is obviously a team of destiny. No one saw that coming at all. I think Bryce Harper was definitely one of those people that has proven to everybody that such a worthy MVP again. And I can't wait to see who comes out on this World Series. I wouldn't be shocked if Reese has a really strong World Series, just because I think he sees now his worth and his value after he had a very shaky last couple games, and then came back and was one of the reasons for those wins. Philly is definitely a city of fighters, and if there's one thing that you cannot, even if you're outside of Pennsylvania, you cannot not deny that these teams are totally making impacts on people who would have thought they would have been over dead in the water. Even the fans ourselves, who probably doubted, which I did. I'm not gonna lie. They got a long season, obviously, but they slept through the last part of that regular season. That made me go, y'all don't want it, So I was like, they'll get one round and then they'll be out, and then boom, here we are. So thank you, Lord, for letting me witness another World Series again. Because every time it seemed the big things happened back in the 2010s, I was going somewhere to see my sister. So I missed the parade for the Phillies, and I missed no, I didn't miss the Super Bowl because I was working my other job, but it's just little things like that I'll remember.
I was working in New York, but my best friend went. She said it was everything you could have ever imagined.
Oh my gosh. I just remember my friends who were like, I don't even like baseball, and I was there, and I was like, shut up. I don't need to hear that. But I literally was on a plane to see my sister because she was giving birth to her other child in Italy. And so, most people were like, well, you were in Italy. And I'm like, yeah, but I wanted to experience it, but I experienced the Super Bowl parade. So that was all that, and I want another one. I'm greedy. I want exactly.
Who doesn't?
And so.
You think Jeffrey Lurie doesn't want another one?
He does, especially in the pass over to his son.
We all do.
It's just too much fun here. And honestly, it's any excuse for everybody to not be a knucklehead for a night that's harmful, should I say, because I witnessed some stuff during that MSC championship trying to get home that night, and that was not fun. But at the same time, it was exciting because the city was literally alive and would not go to sleep. So, but yes, here's to future World Series talk, as I should say, and definitely the next half of the Eagles season. Hey, Dallas Goedert, get a touchdown from me, boo. During this Steelers game, because this will be Battle of Pennsylvania. And thank you, Helen, for giving me some
on the road to victory.
Yeah, because the second part of that song I did not know was Fly Eagles Fly. They said it was something. I missed up the lyrics, and I was like, that's what they say?
Oh, no.
Anyway, you got to look up the lyrics. But anyway,
I have. I'm geeky like that, though.
Whatever. I'm like, you get the point. But yeah, so we're having a great time here in Philadelphia, and we're gonna keep it coming. And I'm praying to God my Sixers get back on track soon, because man, I'm so
excited. Relax on that.
Yeah. Relax. Shout out to Tobias Harris. His pictures of his wedding were gorgeous, by the way. Yes, relax now. And Embiid, I just want Embiid to take his time, because he's still the MVP to me, no matter what the NBA says. So my Cameroon king, I still salute him. But thank you, Helen, for playing along with me for Birds of a Feather tonight.
Absolutely.
I look forward to more conversations. I'm trying to get more females up in here, because we're going to try to show female we know our stuff. We know how to talk ball, whether we played it or not. And looking forward to the podcast. Oh, so you? Oh, excuse me. So
in front yard, but I played. We played tackle too.
Oh, okay. There you go. My sister can probably throw a football better than me, but whatever. I don't care. I look good in tank dresses. Anyway, but thank you for joining Birds of a Feather, Helen. We'll talk to you soon. You have a blessed week, and all those who are watching, thanks for tuning in. And we'll be back with Code Edition later this week, because me and Ed's got to talk. Anyway, have a great night.
Go
Birds. Take care. Bye-bye.